seconds outside of P6. Jonathan now 16.5 seconds behind Gele. The Stint is 25.1 seconds behind Jonathan. Did he have another off? Yeesh. Just as I was about to say, did he have another off? He goes off. Enter Tommy 3.9 seconds. As I said, he did get around enter timing again. Zerdaxium 5 minutes 27 seconds outside of P10. Hyde is 2 minutes 45 seconds outside of P11. Back to Melvin, who now went from a 14 second or 18 second to a 23 second gap over P2, and he's about halfway through dotting to her. Oh boy, it's getting exciting, y'all. Three more stints to go after this one. 6 more hours of racing. An incredible amount of drama can happen here at the Nürburgring. 24 hours of racing with the IRO in 6 hours. Let me tell you what. Comes in on 1 liter of fuel left, or 1% of fuel anyhow. See what the gap is. Now, as he comes into the pits, 25.807 seconds outside of P1. Maddie will be coming in next, and look at the air there. Love that, love that. That was some good timing. Good job, cameraman.
We have a wet stint.
Little something like he might know what he's doing.
Stint number
Track
9.
is certainly.
So we still see the picture in picture. No lander covering the end of stint number 8. And we have the NWR car in the lead. Hypers, another World Tour driver for the team, is on the intermediates, and Olu Esports P2 icon on inters as well, with 24.5 seconds. Now that gap to the leaders. Next up, I think, should be Feel Good Racing. So from what I've heard through the night, they had a little bit of bad luck. They were leading that race, and they are now finding themselves in P3, and it looks like it is quite a gap already. You see Maddie is in for Feel Good Racing. Then we wait for the teammate to take the wheel, and then we see the gaps. Great, it is Michi, another Austrian driver, 1 minute 50 the gap, and for the 303 car, still the 3 teams leading this race, or also the 3 teams on top of the championship standings. Let's have a quick look. So currently we have NWR leading, they're sitting P3 in the championship currently, and the race leaders P2. We have Olu Esports championship leaders, and in P3 Feel Good Racing. So still like Interesting for the championship, of course. So after 8 stints and 16 hours of racing, now heading into the final stretch it is, and so don't put on the music, so, you know. Don't want to do that, of course. Oh my, you shall not call their name. Was a bit too eager probably with me talking. It's like, wait a minute, why are we having some music running in the background? I don't think you've heard that on the stream. So, still missing the next drivers on the track, so the top 3 with a big gap. It looks like it will be the ERS crew, and Alex goes on to the racing soft, so the top 3 on the intermediates, 4 minutes that gap in P5. We have Project 1 Racing, so they had a good comeback. They suffered a disconnect. Stint 3 up to P5 again, so a great night shift for the team to find themselves in P5 again. Jägermeister, yeah, exactly. I'm back for the 3rd stint. Driver. Are we still running? Just had a bit of a disconnect message. It's fine, okay. So, internet, behave yourself, please. So yeah, Constar. He was supposed to drive for Alien Motorsport, but they withdrawn from the season. So Esports Race Asylum said, hey Constar, do you want to drive? And it's not just Constar, so also Maddie will be most likely maybe driving for the Esports Race Asylum crew for the remainder of that season. So yeah. So Constar is on the intermediates, by the way. So let's have a quick look. Hyper's in the lead for NWR, 22 seconds lost, a little bit time compared to Icon, who's also on the intermediates for OVO Esports in P2. Alex, he decided it's already time to go for the softs in P3. Then Valkyrie on a dry track, you see the tire wear already kicking in on those intermediates. Interest for Constar, we saw that. Next driver out on track, Mamo for Inferno Motorsport, going on to the racing softs, and 14 seconds behind we have my team Esports Rotax. He's on intermediate, so again a difficult start to the race. Not sure about the track conditions, so the outlap was dry, then it was raining quite hard midway through that lap, so drivers didn't really have an idea what it will look like after the driver swap. So Sector 7 Racing, Mazda, he's on the intermediates as well. So okay, 2 drivers on the slick tire compound. The 66 crew is out there on softs. So again, different approaches to this race. should see Hypers now coming round after the first inspection lap, let's call it that way. And yeah, so my guess is that he will be pitting for slick tires now. So we have 14 racing laps, so he should probably get away with the softs. Oh no, he stayed out, so maybe they see something we don't see on the weather radar, maybe more rain here on the radar. So I wanted to have a quick look at the stint forecast for stint number 9. So it's IRO1 all the way, but from what I've heard, like IRO1 we could see torrential rain. So yeah, nothing is certain. Definitely a spicy stint. So coming out of the night for the first stint, I think completely in daytime again. Oh, this could be interesting. We see an icon. He is taking it very easy on the pit exit on slick tires. So going on to the softs 1 lap earlier than our race leaders. So they played it safe in the lead. 11 and 111, they took the gamble. Maybe there's nothing more on the radar. So Alex still in P3. Saw that Valkyrie P4 with damage. Oh no, for Project 1 Racing. That's not ideal, of course. Cold for Esports Race Asylum P5, also on those inters. A minute and 29, the gap to Mamamo for Inferno Motorsport 27, BMW P6 for Tax for My TV Sports. We saw that in P7 on the inters. Mazda on inters as well for Sector 7 Racing. URES for the GT Finland Racer 66. We saw that. Next cars that should... No, we had a disconnect. We're just down to 11 drivers, so who are we missing? What did I miss? Someone, we have, I think, the QRT Esports and the Portugal All-Stars. So who is team number 12 that we are missing? Is it Feel Good Racing? No way. Let's see. Yeah. FGR. No! Feel Good Racing disconnected from the lobby. So they were looking so strong in that first half of the race. Now with an early stint disconnect, that will put them way behind again. So I'm not sure. They will lose many minutes, maybe just around the top 8, something like that. Maybe fighting for P10. So that's unlucky, unfortunate for the team. But you know, it's the way online racing goes at some point, and no one wants to face a disconnect. It's sadly part of the game. So they will get the chance to retry, of course, for stints 10, 11 and 12. So still 6 hours that they can compete, they can race, but definitely a big setback for Feel Good Racing. So they were in a good position to keep it in the top 3 overall championship standings. That race now, it's a big bummer for the team. So hopefully they can return and they can come back and give us a good show for the remainder of the race. So Valkyrie is in. Time to ditch the inters and also fix the damage, I reckon. take any fuel on board. I'm pretty sure it will be soft tires now, yeah. Pretty sure Constar will do the same now. Get into the pit lane and change to the soft tires. Alright. So, back to the leaders. So they stayed out for one more lap, played it extremely safe, but already looking for some of those wet patches on the track, trying to cool those intermediate tires and hope that they don't wear too much now coming into the carousel. So still roughly 4 minutes. Is it? 3.5 maybe in those conditions. Yeah, still quite some distance to go on those inters. Icon, they are on the soft tire compound now in P2, so they should be able to close that gap to the leaders. Now gaining, could be in for a treat for that P1 fight, and Ray is in the chat. Hello, oh, a big thrifty moment for Icon. So I read you're a bit tired, so a long night, but yeah, pretty sure you will get your blood flow pumping very soon, because I'm getting ready for the Jägeroki now. So I have to wait until Norlander finishes his stream, because he wants to be in the chat when I do the sing-along today. So but yeah, get yourself ready, so it's not gonna take that much longer, and then we all can tackle the remaining less than 6 hours here of the Nürburgring 24 hours, presented by the International Racing Organization. It is round 4 of the GTEC Championship season, so I can show you that calendar. So we were at Daytona for 24, Bathurst 12 hours, Transedge 8, now the Nürburgring 24. Second half of the season will kick off at Suzuka for 8 hours, and then to Yas Marina for 12 hours of high-speed racing, and Interlagos, and we finish the season at Spa. So we have new additions. We have Transedge, Yas Marina, and Interlagos. So new additions to the IRO GTEC calendar in 2026. Great racing still ahead of us. And okay, so the stream has finished apparently, so we can get rid of that. And then, as expected, Hypers, race leaders, and WR Motorsports, they are heading into pit lane, and they switch over to another slick tire compound. What's it gonna be? Will they go for a long or medium stint? Because they did like 2 on intermediates, or go softs, aggressive. I think a soft would be my guess, and exactly it is the soft tire compound for Hyper. So let's have a look at that gap. It was 43 seconds, probably less than 20. When Icon heads into turn number 1, let's see, drop in. Just around 20 seconds, so we're half to that gap now. They're pretty much on the same strategy, 1 lap older soft tires for Icon, but yeah, still for a like 18 plus hours of racing, 20 seconds that gap. And P3 Elite Racing Squad 3 minutes 23 that gap to P2, so that looks like a mission impossible to gain more, but still a very good race result, of course, for the Polish team. So for running on the podium, Project 1 racing up to P4 after facing a disconnect in stint number 3. So they're just 36 seconds behind, so maybe they have a chance for the podium. And also the esports racing Salem team in P5, staying within the top 6 probably for most of the race. Now they have to keep it, I think, steady. FGR, they disconnected on their first lap after the driver swap. Very unlucky. So I hope they can and they will return for stints 10, 11 and 12, but a big setback, of course, for the team. So very unlucky. I know. It's not what we want to see. A quick run through the field again before singing time. So my team esports then P7, Rotax currently driving the 66 crew, GT Finland Racers in P8, and Sector 7 racing in P7, 13 seconds, okay, that's also kind of possible. Then we have Portugal All-Stars Neo in their newly acquired Ferrari 296 in P10, 14 minutes 43 seconds the gap to the leaders. And in P11 QRT Esports II, the German driver, 1 minute 15 behind P10. I don't know. I think the time will be calculated. So I would say I don't know how much the gap was before. I think around about 2 minutes the gap, and let's see. So predicted rejoin time 5 minutes and 15 seconds behind the leaders. So if we're looking at that, so they are P4, P5, roundabout that, expected to rejoin then for the next stint. So the gap to the podium, it's over a minute, but I think they have very fast drivers still on their lineup. I heard like Maleus wants to do more, and let's see. So maybe a podium is still within reach for the team after all, but yeah, definitely a big setback for everybody. All right, so you know the drill. It's a 24-hour race, and this can only mean one thing. Jaeger is on the mic, and it's either a very late shift stint for me or an early morning. It's still kind of early morning. It's 8:30 my time, so still a bit of not everyone is awake, so this is the perfect time basically to get into the groove. And for those who just woke up, good morning. Those who are very tired, you might wanna stay up a little bit longer and enjoy your treatment. Okay, so you have been warned. I will be doing my traditional Jägeroki now. Whew. It's 80s, 90s-ish, I can tell you that, and it was a big hit in Germany, and the band is from Austria, so those are the little hints I can give you. And without any further ado, I think we get into the Jägeroki singing time. We stay with the leaders, and then let's go. Na 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 na, hey! Na 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 na, all together now. Na 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 na, woohoo! Na 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 na, life. Na 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 na, life is life. Na 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 na, labba dabba 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 life. Na 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 na, life is life. Na 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 na. When we all give the power, we all give the best. Every minute of an hour, don't think about the rest. And you all get the power, you all get the best. When everyone gets everything and every song, everybody sings, and it's life. Na 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 na, life is life. Na 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 na, labba dabba 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 life. Na 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 na, life. Na 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 na, life is life when we all feel the power. Life is life. Come on, stand up and dance. Life is life when the feeling of the people. Life is life is the feeling of the band. When we all give the power, we all give the best. Every minute of an hour, don't think about the rest. Then you all get the power, you all get the best. When everyone gives everything and every song, everybody sings, and it's life. Na 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 na, life is life. Na 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 na, dabba 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 life. Na 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 na, life is life. Na 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 na, dabba 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 life. Na 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 na, na 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 na. Come on, sing with me. Na 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 na, and again. Na 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 na, one more time. Life. Na 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 na, life is life. Na 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 na, dabba 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 life. Na 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 na, life is life. Na 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 na. And you all, when it's over, you call it good last. Every minute of the future is a memory of the past. 'Cause we all gave the power, we all gave the best. And everyone gave everything and every song. Everybody sing! Life is life, jawohl, yeah, thank you. Woohoo. That was fun. GG's. So, hope you're feeling better. If not, you have been warned. Looks like I didn't lose too many viewers. Still 14 here in the early morning here for me, so good stuff. So let's see what happened on the track. We still have NWR Motorsports leading 23 seconds, so they're extending the lead again after the pit stop from 20 to 24 now on this lap. But track conditions are improving for everybody here, so we should expect faster lap times now for everybody. Just need a little bit of a drink. So, P3 and 4 Elite Racing Squad. Is everybody on the soft tire now? Pretty sure. But we confirm later on, so 34 seconds between ERS and P1R. Constar, another minute and 13. The gap, so that extra pit stop, I think we saw with the damage, put them a little bit on the back foot again for a potential fight for the podium. Inferno Motorsport running with damage. How bad is it? Multiple parts are affected. So maybe they will pit by the end of this lap. It's still blinking with indicators, so that it's going faster. I'm not sure, maybe they stay out and go for one more lap. So have to wait and see. My team in P7 could benefit from an extra pit stop from the 27 car in front. So we'll keep an eye out on that. And GT Finland racers in P8, the red 66 car. 12 seconds, that gap. Oh, you see blue flags, but blue flags probably for a different driver, not the leaders, with 7 minutes something. In P9, I think that Mazda is a lap down. Currently, let's quickly jump back and forth. Confirm. Yep. So and then we have huge gaps for the last two teams in this stint. 6 minutes for Portugal All-Stars to P9, and we have QRT Esports with less than a minute currently to P10. So no close battles currently, but this could change very soon again. So the unpredictable weather, we don't know. So we had a wet outlap, then a wet first lap for a couple of drivers. Some went for the slicks already, they survived. For now it looks like it's dry, so no real menace from the sky. Even a little bit of sunshine now happening. And have a look at the lap time, 8:07.4. That's up with the fastest lap so far. Rotax 8:07.3. Those lap times will improve, pretty sure. Now stay with Hypersense. Definitely gained on the Icon nearly 7 seconds, I think, since the pit stop, and this should be the new fastest lap of the stint. And it's an 8:01.3. Smash that fastest lap by nearly 6 seconds. It is. Yeah, that's very unlucky. No lander, so Matti in the previous. And then Michi for Feelgood Racing in this one. Would be a coincidence. I think the disconnect at the end of Stint 8 would not affect them that much, but the early disconnect here in Stint number 9 is the huge time loss, of course. So we heard it like 5 minutes 15, the predicted rejoin time behind the leaders. They can still push. And we don't know. So it would be roughly 2 minutes to gain in 3 stints to maybe fight for the podium again. It's not impossible. So the pace from Maleus especially, but I could witness so far. So maybe there. Now, having the mentality, it doesn't really matter now. It probably, but yeah, they have a little bit of time now to regroup, recover, and maybe also look at their lineup and see who is available, and also who has quite stable internet. So it's been a theme like in those endurance races with Gran Turismo especially. So you can have like your really quick drivers be available, but if they have like unreliable internet, so this is always a risk for the entire team, of course. And if I remember correctly, so for when Sector 7 Racing joined back in the days, and they had like Macho Monkey, one of the absolute fastest drivers of the game. So he always had some internet issues and disconnected quite a few times. And then I think last year, so he could up his game with the internet connection, way more stable internet, and this is also then something you have to consider. Do you take the risk with a fast driver but internet is not that reliable, or you go with someone maybe a little bit slower but like he has rock solid internet and usually doesn't disconnect? Still doesn't mean anything in the end. Little bit of a hiccup with your provider, with your own local setup, can happen at any time still. And there's not much buffering in the Gran Turismo lobbies, unfortunately. So if we have a small packet loss or ping issue or whatever, then you might get kicked from that lobby and nothing you can do about that. So there's no guarantee for this one, and also there's no guarantee with the Eifel weather. So for now it looks like kind of stable, no rain on the horizon, but this can change at any time. And good morning, Jason. Good morning, Ian. How are we? Have a good little rest, hopefully, and you're ready for the remaining 5.5 hours, roughly, here for the Nürburgring 24 hours. So the worst part with the weather is then probably lies past the travel, so let's have a quick look at it again. So we are Stint 9 currently, so there's a chance of rain. We had rain at the start, now it's dry. It can reappear at any time. And also the start for Stint 10, we could see a little bit of rain, but after that it will get sunny then for the rest of this race. So it's a blessing for the drivers maybe, and also way more predictable than the conditions we had so far in this race. So race situation still, NWR leading comfortably with 31 seconds. In P2 it's IRO Esports. Then here we go. We have to take a look before we continue with the rundown. So as expected, the Inferno Motorsports team, they are pitting to fix that damage. So it's 45 seconds to my team Esports behind them. They will lose, I don't know, 40 seconds maybe. They refuel, they change tires, and they will fix that damage. Probably won't take that long, but still should be, I guess, less than 10 seconds between the two teams. So 27 leaving pit lane, now heading into turn number 1, and here we go. Protax brakes for turn number 1 for the My Team Esports crew, and 4.5 seconds at this stage. Of course, a different tire and fuel strategy now. You see probably one more lap doable for the 54 car on those tires, but they're in, definitely they see them, and also looks like that 27 won't be able to finish that stint on this compound. Yeah, the nice little coffee, yeah. It's nice, something warm. So, but Mamamo, he is already opening up that gap. Tires up to temps now, and wants to build a gap again. So next travel with the rundown. So we come back to P4 and 5 in a minute. We continue with the order now in P8, GT Finland Racers. On a similar strategy than my team Esports crew in front, so that gap should stay roughly the same. Matti confirming he probably just left the lobby. He didn't disconnect, so just Michi, unfortunately, for the team. Okay, so that's all that you. Matti completed the driver swap and then left the lobby, totally fine, of course. Just didn't get any in-game credits for your efforts for that stint, but hey. Probably you don't rely on the money anymore after that long time that GT7 is out here. You have plenty of other opportunities to grind some money if you need it. Oh, then P10 Neo on the softs, 8:14. That last lap, we see that II is gaining on Neo. Gained 10 seconds the last time round, so it's 43 for now, and they're on a similar strategy here as well. On the softs, the fuel, not that much of a difference. And maybe the QRT esports team can gain a position at some point, so they didn't have like the luck in this race at all. I covered stint 1 and 3, so unlucky decisions, unlucky moments for the team, which dropped them all the way to the back, and they're still recovering ever since. But that gap to the car in front is definitely come down, so they're making some progress, not on the position, but definitely to that number 4 car. Probably that's the fight for position. Don't think those 6 minutes plus is really doable. Yeah, but we never know. We saw it earlier. A disconnect can happen at any time to anybody. Ooh, no! There was a mistake. So what happened? We saw the aftermath of that incident coming out of the carousel. And, ooh, ouch! And he gets even more damage, so that not helping the number 4 car. With that damage, they're pretty sure they have to pit now, and it's less than 30 seconds, so this looks like the 64 car will get the jump here very soon. I can't imagine that the number 4 Ferrari is running for that much longer with that damage. So this might be a back and forth between those two teams now for this stint at least. And we see another pit stop. There's also massive damage. Just spotted that for Project 1 Racing. So this brings the esports race asylum crew back into contention for that P4 spot. And it's close on the pit exit. I think Constar just gets in front. Oh, and Valkyrie goes on to the medium. So I think they changed their strategy now after that unscheduled pit stop. So going from the softs to the mediums now, and then try to finish that stint on this compound. The plan is not to pit again, but on the slightly slower compound now compared to Constar in the number 1 Porsche. So how much time can Constar gain? So he will probably pit lap 9, I reckon. So roughly 2 laps to build a little bit of a gap, and then At least would be my guess, to use another set of softs and push and maybe fight with P1R for that P4 spot currently. So we'll still keep that in mind, that just over 5 minutes will be the rejoin time for Feel Good Racing. So it's probably P5, but those 3 teams might be fighting for that P4 spot then, depending on how this stint and the race evolves, of course. So we have more drivers pitting. That's early. Let's see. Do we see more mediums now for the teams? So I think you could do a 2-stopper on softs or soft medium split for the driver stints if it's a standard dry stint. But it's softs again for Rotex and My Team Esports, and also softs again for Ures and the 66 crew, GT and Racers, and 66 jumped the 54, but this is basically due to the fuel difference now. So 54 took nearly a full tank, but they don't want to put in the fuel for their next pit stop, while the 66 are a bit a lighter car. They hope they can extract a bit more pace probably now and want to run the lighter car overall. So what's happening at the front grid, or to the back of the grid? So as expected, Neo had to pit and fix that damage and finds himself 7 seconds behind QRT Esports now. But yeah, on a different fuel and tire strategy now. So tire advantage for the number 4. I think both will have to pit one more time during the stint, and in theory the fuel advantage and the tire advantage should help Neo to close that gap, and we could see a really nice battle for P10. So back to the leaders. So Hypers with that 801.3, 801.5 and 803. He is definitely in control. Now has 43 seconds to Icon, who cannot go that pace, losing roughly 5 seconds per lap, if I see that correctly. But he's still in a solid position, of course. The gap to P3, 3 minute 33 seconds. And the tire wear now really visible on that BMW. So in earlier stints where it was dry, the BMW was definitely struggling with its front tires. So I think it's a soft to medium for the 73 car again. And yeah, we had, I think, quite a few stints that have been declared wet, so basically the tire allocation for this round is it's voided, right? So wet stint, the tires you use don't count towards your allocation, so pretty much free choice for the teams and the drivers what they can run. And with the, I'd say the last 3 stints most likely completely dry, so the final 2, that's a guarantee. Stint number 10, a slight chance of rain for the start. And here he's in. Pretty sure we will see medium tires and fuel, even more fuel in that car. No, not that much fuel, so it is a soft again. I'm confused. Yep, it's soft again, and what a recovery from that car. Definitely, so they didn't have the best opening stint, but I think they managed to find themselves in the top 4 or 5 all the time, and with those recent disconnects, so currently P3 looking for their best result of the season. So far on a good way, on track definitely to score big points today in the M24. And Constar is in as well. With just six laps on the softs. I think he started on the inters, right? Then had to pit, so it's 5 racing laps on softs. He's going just for the push strategy now. No fuel, just changing tires, and away they go again. So drop behind P1R. Valkyrie, who is on that different strategy, so on the mediums, and trying to get the mediums all the way to the end of the stint, so for the driver swap. And Constar wants to push, probably, so they can use all the tires they want, so that's not the problem, but you still lose, I think, 20 odd seconds for a pit stop and a tire change. Can you gain that much time? Yeah, we'll see. Definitely nice to see different strategies than from the teams so far. On the 27, they find themselves now in pretty much no man's land. So the cars behind, they pitted for fresh tires as well, and Juras is also pushing. Now opened up the gap to Rotax, nearly 5 seconds. It was just over 2 seconds, I think, coming out of pit lane, so that lighter car helps probably. So let's have a look at the outlap. 8:33, 8:56. Right, but that also, I think, is due to that fuel that went into the 54 Porsche. So that's not a 20-second difference, not at all. So the fuel definitely now is the advantage for Mighty Esports. The pace with the lighter car the advantage for GT Finland racers. So also something to monitor. Let's have a look at Sector 7 Racing, Mazda in P9, 48 seconds. And you've seen the change of positions between Neo and II. So QRT Esports went into pit lane and they changed tires, also not much fuel, if any, went into that Porsche. So also pushing for an aggressive strategy. And also it's the long term battle in the stint between the Portugal All-Stars and QRT Esports for that P10 for now. There will be fight for P11 when Fieldwood Racing will rejoin in the next stint, that is. So like looking at those lap times, I think it's advantage for II, the German driver, in this Porsche against the Ferrari, which we're currently seeing on the track, so, but improving now throughout the lap. So getting into the rhythm now, it's definitely maybe ideal conditions. Now it's dry, it's not too sunny, too warm early morning, and not much traffic around here as well. A couple of blue flags, but apart from that, you can drive your own pace now and don't get too much distracted, but maybe that's also a bit of a challenge. So I'm not sure how much sleep some of the drivers did get, if at all, how well rested they feel. I know it from own experience for driving and also doing organization and commentary, of course. So on the one side, you need to get some rest. On the other hand, you feel like you don't want to, just stay with your team, right, in the voice chats, in the party chats, in the strategy groups or whatever, and then help wherever you can and spectate the racing action. So this all can lead to the fact that the amount of rest you want to get is something different that you actually get, if you know what I mean. So I can't sleep now. It's also like the adrenaline that kicks in after a stint, and you feel like I should go to sleep now, but it's not doing that. So yeah, those are the challenges of a 24-hour race, of course, with the team. So yeah, the team has usually 3, 4, maybe 5 drivers who can take the wheel. So it's not like you have to be awake for all stints and all the time, but sometimes you just can't avoid it, right? So it happened. So that's why some of those morning stints, so let's put it that way, could be tricky. Like if you're like all by yourself and you lose focus and you find yourself in a different situation, a tricky situation. But this, yeah, Comstar gained 6 seconds, I think, on this lap already in Valkyrie, so the push strategy seems to be working. He's within the slipstream range now. So down the Döttinger Höhe and getting closer and closer. is he in a position to get past the green number 20 Porsche before they enter the Nordschleife again. So they have the GP track now, and it's less than a second. So Constant is flying. Currently a second to find. Maybe down into the Dunlop-Kehre, Goodyear-Kehre, I don't know what's the name of that hairpin at the bottom of the track. They change it so often. But let's just go by the traditional name, the Mühlenbach-Schleife. So that's probably the name, no matter what the sponsor is. So he comes out of that slow turn uphill into Michael Schumacher S. He is not close enough. Could get a look, had to lift though through the uphill combination. Can he get a run before the Vidal chicane? That's the question. Let's see, he's close, bit too wide, maybe no. Kept the foot down and is pushing for the move. He goes side by side into the chicane, and Constant gets past up to P4. He needs to get in front on his soft tires compared to Valkyrie on the mediums, so that was a crucial move just before the start of the long Nordschleife part now. And now he needs to open up a gap, so Constant, he has to pit again. And I think roughly 30 seconds. Not sure if he can gain that much, but then on the other hand he has fresh soft tires and will gain later on. Our leaders are in on fairly short soft tires. They made it work, so they can go to the softs again in this one. Yeah, exactly, Ray. Nicely done. And Rapid GT, good morning. So, you're awake, had your little beauty sleep. Away they go. It's no surprise. Softs again. Gap is big enough to Alcon, who also has to pit, looking at the tires. So they're all the same strategy, P1 and P2. So the gap should probably stay around those 50 seconds. And yeah, we had some nice comeback drives already. What about the NWR crew? So they had a really suboptimal start to the race, let's put it that way. So they started P11, Stint 1, and then they went for intermediates on a drying track on the first lap. Basically everyone else was on the soft tires, so they were like on the back foot very early on. Had to pit after lap 1. So we're all the way down to P12 and a massive gap to the leaders. Good recovery drive in Stint number 1. So they continued to move up the order. And now, after the night, they find themselves with a nice little gap, nearly a minute now, in front of OE Esports, our championship leaders, P2 too. So yeah, the 111 up there for a reason. I guess. Will we see another twist in this race? Still 5 hours to go. Is it? No, it is more, right? I'm not confused. It's 3 stints. Plus this, 7 hours. That's more like it. 7 hours to go. So yeah, roughly a minute between P1 and P2. Then in P3 we have an elite racing squad, the lead BMW in this race. And no pressure from behind. Definitely that half-second penalty doesn't really hurt that much now. Still, you don't want to see that happening to you. So they also had a good recovery drive so far after being down to P10, I think, at one stage on the opening stint. Now it's P3. To keep an eye on that gap to the leaders though. The Feel Good Racing team, so they disconnected in this stint and they have a projected rejoin time of 5 minutes 15 seconds if I can remember correctly. So at this stage, but let's see if that gap is correct. So sometimes it takes a lap for the gaps to refresh on our screen. Yep, see it's not that big. It's just over 4 minutes, so but it's also just over a minute for Feel Good Racing, and we've seen their pace throughout this race. So I still think it's possible for FGR to fight for a podium even after this harsh disconnect in this stint. P4 then it's Constar for Esports Race Asylum. 6 minutes roughly, will pretty sure update when he crosses the line as well. It's roughly 5.5 maybe. So let's wait and see. So if they can push, maybe they also can fight. So an 8:03. Yeah, it's round about that gap that we would expect from FGR with the rejoin. So this could get interesting. At least for P4 in the next stint. Valkyrie has to pit again. No, doesn't want to pit again, but Constar will have to do another pit stop. So let's add those 30 plus seconds on top again. So maybe it's not that close. So, because the leaders, we don't expect them to pit. So the gap to the leaders is the important gap we need to keep an eye on. So for FGR, and I think they will rejoin in P4 then. Nope, in P1 we have NWR, so FGR they disconnected in this lobby on the first racing lap, unfortunately. So they are a bit on the back foot now, and the Ferrari running in P1 now with nearly a minute. So that's the race situation. So let's still have a look at the gap between Constar and Valkyrie. So Constar with the predicted extra pit stop, Valkyrie on his mediums. But we saw that overtake on the previous lap. It's 8 seconds now. Another 8. 16. Constar definitely needs to push. Can probably do one more after that, and then has still 3 laps. So I think it's doable without any mistake and any more rain, of course. It again looks very stable currently from what I can tell from the visuals. P6, the 27, they are low on fuel, so this will be their hit lap. Same for the 66 car. And 54 in P8, they have way more fuel, so they put in all they had in the previous stop. That's why they might jump in the 66 then after the next pit stop again with that fuel advantage for now. P9 for 7 sector racing it is, and then we see the difference between P10 and P11 again, probably due to pit stops here. So Neo went on to the medium tire compound and looking to finish that stint on those mediums. II has 33 seconds now, but an extra pit stop still on the to-do list at an 8:04.9 and a purple first sector. So far a really good stint for QRT Esports. Here they went up 1 position, P10 in this stint, P11 after FGRs rejoined them for the next stint. It is. Alright, let's do a little bit on board with our race leaders. I grab a little bit to eat and drink. So just saw that purple 1.2 seconds, so are we on track to see the next sub 8-minute lap time? So the previous stint number 8, towards the end we saw a 7:59.8 or 9. Not too sure about the exactly, but definitely a sub 8-minute from Hyper's teammate Melvin in that same car, and is just on track. Now on the display it shows an 8:00.3 currently. Good run. 1.4. He's getting closer to the 8-minute barrier. So uphill towards the carousel. So on the display it shows predicted 7:59. Nice lap so far. Into Row 8 we go. And now the fun part of the track, into the command, left, right, brake, accelerate, Eschbach. Coast into a right-hander at Brünnchen, little downshift for rotation, exit of Brünnchen, YouTube corner, uphill we go, using all of the exit curve. What a lap it is so far into ice curve. Windshield wipers? Is it raining? No way. Not really visible though. Maybe just a little bit of trolling happening. I don't know, it doesn't look like rain. Maybe. Definitely some clouds, but light clouds. Not sure, so we go into Schwalbenschwanz, fast entry, into the left uphill, carry the speed, use the curve once again, brake for Kleine Karussell, the exit of Schwalbenschwanz. Gets a good run. Double right-hander Galgenkopf, inside line, keeps the foot down, past the Audi gantry, and it's 2 seconds up, so a 7:57 on the dashboard. I don't think that is representative. We had it, I think, in the last stint where I had this. The onboard probably have a bit of a different reference time, but a couple of raindrops are falling down. Oh, how much will it be? Will it affect the fastest lap? Oh, it's getting more into Hohenrhein chicane. Will he stay out? Definitely the rain has arrived. Yeah, he's staying out and he will set a sub 8-minute lap time. Let's see, a 7:59.4. So that's at least what I've seen, the fastest lap of the race so far. And we have rain, ladies and gentlemen. So wow, didn't see that coming. Can the drivers survive? So it's kind of heavy rain here on the GP track and of the Nordschleife. So what's the decision now? It's still drivable. Oh, it doesn't look that dark, to be honest, but yeah, rain is falling down. Undeniable. And just around that first bar, so it's close to intermediate conditions. Will it increase throughout the lap? That is the question. Let's have a look at the outdrivers. So no more rain here from above. track stays roughly in that same condition. Let's have a look at Alex. He is still on the Nordschleife, so no more rain, but a slightly wet track in here, manageable. Look through the trails and see if you find more rain. Don't think so. I think that's it. Maybe the final bit of rain for this event. So maybe we say a little bit of farewell. It was nice. It was fun as long as it lasted. But yeah, from the driver's eyes, there is no more rain coming down on track. So I think the right decision to stay out on the slick tires. Don't get fooled. Sub 8-minute lap time puts the 224 Ferrari up by more than a minute. Out at 8:04, definitely not a slow lap time at all. But yeah, that 7:59 bit of a still a different league. Was a great lap. Yeah, what a timing, right? To go on board and see most of that lap. So conditions are manageable, from what I can tell. But will I see pit stop soon again? So at the end of lap 15, where we see the driver swaps, and well, that's 5 laps for Alex. I think this could be doable on a new set of softs. Maybe do one more. I don't know, but last time, yeah, the tires didn't really like that final lap on very warm soft. So let's see if they decide to pit this lap or stay out for one more. They have the fuel. They stay out. Constar was quite low on the fuel, so he's forced to pit now. He has roughly 16 seconds to Valkyrie. So I think he will be losing around about 30 seconds with the tire change and the fuel. Maybe a bit more, so Valkyrie for Project 1 Racing will get back to that P4 position, and Constar P5. But Constar again can push. Did 2 803s now, and it's predicted at least to get close to Valkyrie before the driver swap. What's the refuel speed? Slow. I think it's 2 liters per second. Either 1, 2, or 3. So I haven't got the championship document, the briefing document currently here, but pretty sure it's something like that. So okay, 3 liters per second for this round. thank you for the clarification. And Constar leaves pit lane, and we see the gap to Valkyrie, 20 odd seconds. Oh yeah, so we have 36-37 for that pit stop then with the tire change and the refueling. So it's 4 laps, and Constar roughly 7-8 seconds per lap faster. So if you do the math, then Constar should catch Valkyrie. So within the next 3 laps, and should be closer past the Project One Racing driver before the final lap of the stint. At least that is the prediction. Yeah, if nothing serious happens, of course, throughout the race. Okay, so for all the drivers in chat or interested people, let's get a rundown and see the gaps between the teams and the drivers, and I do my best to guess what the strategy will look like for the remainder of this stint. So Hypers for NWR Motorsports in the lead on those softs. It will be probably sketchy on the final lap, but I don't expect any more pit stops, so that 1 minute gap should roughly stay. Then to Obo Esports in P2, our championship leaders. Also, no expected pit stops during this stint. Alex in P3 though, the 73 BMW, you see it as well, tires are quite warm, so they have to pit. I expect them to pit this lap. The Valkyrie in P4, they decided to go onto the mediums. 1 minute 24 to P3, so with 30 odd seconds, it's under a minute the gap between P3 and P4, and the Feel Good Racing team should slot in between Alex and probably Constar. He's on that push strategy, will gain the green Porsche, the number 20 in front, during those next couple of laps. So then we have a minute to Inferno Motorsport in P6. Looking at the tires and the fuel, so they should be able to bring that car into the pits for the driver swap. No more additional stops needed. Fresh tires for My Team Esports Rotax, and just 3 seconds to the 66 car behind. So yeah, they had a bit of a different refueling strategy going on, but on that final push now, tire advantage for the 54 car. For now on the outlap, 3 seconds though, the gap not too shabby, and still a little mistake, and we might see a battle for position. P10 we have Sector 7 Racing, 1 minute and 30 the gap, and this looks like also they will finish that stint on those soft tires. And then we have the big gap to the 2 following cars in P10, QRT Esports with II, a great stint so far. You see the fuel as well, so they have to pit this lap. Nearly a minute to Neo for the Portugal All-Stars on the mediums, so they will finish that stint on this tire compound. Of course, you don't get any more rain or damage, you name it. This is like the prediction. So the next driver to pit, most likely Alex. Run with the 73 crew coming out of Schwalbenschwanz now. So we add a bit more than 30 seconds on top, so it should be roughly 5 minutes. And that gap to the leaders, and oh boy, we could have a battle for P3 in stint number 10 when FGR rejoins. It's just over 5 minutes. Probably, yeah, they have an eye on that gap to the leaders. That's important for them. So, and in they go, final push. With 3 more laps to go. 13, 14, 15. Yep, used my fingers for that. So 3 laps on the soft. So they have a really, of course, a light car. Not much fuel and fresh tires, so they will still lose those 30 odd seconds during the pit stop now. So roughly around 5 minutes. The gap to the leaders should stay probably around that area. You see the tire degradation for the leaders. Still 804s, 804, 806 for the 2 lead teams. And pretty sure Alex is capable of running those lap times. Personal best of 805. And has a lighter car now, fresh tires. Track is dry again, so that's should roughly stay at this 5-minute mark. And we see Valkyrie, now he's crossing the line, doing 8, yeah, I think average 811s on the mediums. Constant gained already, those predicted. 7 to 8 seconds per lap. So he's on track. Less than 14 seconds. So next lap we should see that gap around about the 8-second mark, maybe a little less, and Constant going purple. Can he challenge Hyper's 7:59.4 lap time? It's Ferrari versus Porsche here as well, the two different manufacturers. It's still purple, a good GP run so far from Constant. Yes. Maybe he has 2 goals. Try and get close to the fastest lap, and the primary goal, of course, is to get to Valkyrie. So his personal best currently with an 8. Oh, no, that's wrong. 803.1. How much can he push? Will he push? It's like, yeah, you it you don't get any extra points for fastest lap, by the way. So it's just like for Dragon Ride. So yeah, I got it, but it's not really helping your team. So maybe that goal is not that important, but I know some of the drivers are of course very competitive and they want to, but I think the ERA voice chat, they know exactly what they have to tell Constar to. It's okay to push, but like keep it under control. Less than 10 seconds, so definitely on that push. Have a little look. The Inferno Motorsport BMW with an 801.8 last time around, also blistering fast lap times. Now, so without that extra pit stop for damage, and this is probably again a theme for this team. They have such quick drivers, but unlucky moments and getting damage and being forced to pit again. So I think they have the pace to fight for the podiums. They just need to avoid those mistakes and so pretty sure their aims are to fight for the podium. They had a great qualifying yesterday, good pace throughout the stints so far, and yeah, 1-2 mistakes less, and they're in there to fight with the big guns. Definitely. Now let's have a look at the battle between P7 and P8. So the gap didn't really change. Ooh, Hypers had an interesting line here, cutting the grass. Is it a penalty? Yep, it's a half-second penalty. So coming out of Flugplatz. He kept that car straight and avoided definitely some incident here. Just that half-second penalty, will be glad. You see, a mistake can happen at any time, even with those World Tour top class drivers. It's the most beautiful, but also one of the most challenging racetracks in the world. And Rotax, he's enjoying himself. He's gaining on Hypers, so maybe they can unlap themselves and have a good run. Of course, having the tire advantage at this stage compared to the lead Ferrari, and maybe also Hypers is now a bit more cautious, not pushing too much. Could be a quick lesson learned, for I don't need to risk anything here. It's still more than a minute to Icon, 1 minute 13 it is, and a sketchy exit of X relay over the curb. I've seen a couple of incidents at this very spot. The 54 Porsche is flying, but so is the 66 as well. Less than 3 seconds, so gaining a little bit maybe. the 54 is being held up slightly by our race leaders, but then on the other hand, yeah, you're one lap down, so you can't expect and the leaders will just say, okay, just overtake, it's fine. So it still could be a nice little reference for the French driver now. Gap up to 3.2, so that uphill part at Kesselchen and Klostertal. So with that slipstream definitely helped the 54. So 3.2 again. Ooh, and then there was a curb and there was damage, and that was a big F in the chat. That was unlucky for the 54, and they lost the position to the 66 with that mistake. So I clipped it. I think we have to go to the onboard and see, but just took too much curb, I think, on the exit. Here coming towards Q8. Here already sketchy. Then it's damage front and rear. So that's with that damage with 3 laps to go. Not sure they have a big gap to P9, so they could pit, but with front and rear damage, I think they might pit. And Constar with a massive lap, a 8:01.4. He goes around the outside on his soft tires and earlier than predicted past Valkyrie. You see Valkyrie's tires still are looking okay, but an 8:14 on that previous lap, so that didn't help them to stay in front for another lap. Let's have a look at this overtake again from Valkyrie's perspective. So coming out of Michael Schumacher S and touching the gravel. A clean overtake around the outside for Constar and Esports Races Ireland. So up to P4 again. That aggressive push strategy, yeah, kind of worked for the team. So it's P4. It's 6 minutes to the leaders. So and the 54 comes in. Yeah, too much damage on the car. Unlucky moment for them. So they will lose another 25 seconds, I reckon. And to the 66 crew. Check Icon. Icon with damage and a penalty as well. So he's probably also forced to pit. But it's 1 lap to go. So Hypers is on that final lap. What about Icon? Will he pit? He's staying out. He is staying out. will lose a couple of more seconds, of course. So 1 minute 28 surely go up to more than 1 minute 30. But that's basically 3 pit stops for the 224 crew. Now after the end of stint number 9 with 3 stints to go, so just a little bit over 6 hours of racing left in this 24-hour event. NWR leading, then over in P2, ERS, P3 keeping that gap at around about 5 minutes, so expected to see Alex here doing some great pace, low 8 minutes, 8:02, 8:01 maybe possible for the 73 Constar for Esports Races Ireland in P4, still on the penultimate lap, so 6 minutes that gap to the leaders. He had that Valkyrie with a penalty and I think lost a little bit off the groove. It's 8:14 and already 6 seconds the gap to Constar. Maybe also needs to save a little bit of fuel. Just cross-checked it to the number 1 car in front. Though the gap to Inferno Motorsport in P6 over a minute, so should be safe to keep that position at least. Then the 66 crew next up, US, and after that moment we saw from the 54 My Team Esports car now 37 seconds the gap and a fresh set of soft tires. Take it easy, choose your words. P9 in this lobby, P10 overall. It is Sector 7 Racing, Mazda, 1 minute 20, that gap. And II for QRT Esports, 6 minutes to the next car in front, but a healthy gap to the Portugal All-Stars. And in P11, so then we'll stay with Hypers on those last roughly 3 minutes in this travel stint number 8. So I could also pin the next stream. GT45 Gaming is already live, is prepared, so it's pinned in the channel comments, stream chat, so you can then go over to GT45 Gaming. I will integrate the picture-in-picture during the driver swap sequence for you as well, so that if you go over to GT45, say hello, leave a like, subscribe if you haven't. All that good stuff, of course. So 1 minute 35 even, so that gap, yeah, goes up and up between Hypers and Icon. So with that damage, and so we've taken kind of easy now, not risk another incident. The car behind the 66, 1 lap down, but better tires at this stage of the race. Has to do 1 more lap, of course. Might be using the Gotthard for the run, the overtake. staying behind through Franz Garten and Stefan Belov as we go into Schwalbenschwanz for the final time for Hypros and the NWR Motorsport team. 1:38, you see that gap. That was a top-notch stint for NWR, made the correct calls, I think, during that stint and extended their lead. That's in a really strong position for those final 6 hours. Here we see the overtake. Porsche is not close enough for now. And well done, Hypros, for a great stint, and NWR are in the pit lane. So let's bring up this one. That maximum visibility for you, and we have icon 1:40. How much time will he lose? Was 1:28, I think, when they started the lap. It's almost 13 seconds to the leaders, but it's still less than going in and pitting to repair the damage on that final lap. So I think it was the right call to stay out and drive on the final lap of the stint with that damage. But of course, an unlucky end to the stint for OVO Esports. And sneak peek at the next stint, it looks like to be a dry start from what I can tell from the stream. We'll bring up the weather forecast in a second. We have 3 minutes before the next driver will pit, so let's see. Stint number 10, so the first 3 slots we could see a little bit of rain, not guaranteed of course, so this means for, let's say, the next 30 minutes there might be potential for a bit of drama, and then it will be dry all the way till the end of this race. So, championship implications. Let's bring up the standings before this round. So we have the NWR crew leading and OVO in P2. And we see that OVO Esports are leading the championship currently with 160 points. And NWR in P3, 107 points. So they will definitely close that gap. And Feel Good Racing, they are still in that fight for the podium. So Alex for ERS currently less than 5 minutes the gap, and I guess roughly 20 seconds behind them. The Feel Good Racing team will be released for the next stint, that is. So that is still something to watch for the next stint. If I'm not mistaken, then it should be Meleus for Feel Good Racing, one of the fastest drivers during this event. So he might have a little bit of more extra motivation again. So definitely don't go anywhere. Go to GT45 Gaming's stream if you haven't done already, or stay with me. Then I will stay online with the stream until the last car drives into the pit lane. So we will see that. And Alex comes out of Geigenkopf onto the Döttinger 4:55, so he made up some time. It should be around about 20 seconds, the gap between ERS and FGR after the driver swap. Of course, it can differ because teams can opt to put in more fuel or less fuel. It's up to them. They start on a very low amount of fuel driving into the pit lane for the driver swap, so it's up to them if they want to get a full tank or just a half a tank of fuel, etc. And also Constar with a massive stint for esports race asylum. I think one little mistake, and that cost them a little bit of time. It's less than a minute to ERS, about 30 seconds to Valkyrie, so I think Valkyrie had to slow down to save fuel to make it. And all those mediums couldn't, of course, defend that aggressive strategy, but 30 seconds, it's quite something, not gonna lie. So great push stint for Constar, who drives into a pit lane now and goes for the swap. Then another 30 seconds. We see picture-in-picture the ERS crew are out, and the next team is FGR, and they are as well on the track, and the gap shouldn't be too big. So yeah, that could be an interesting watch. It really depends. So the next stint will be again with the schedule. So with the long track, it's either 14 or 15 racing laps, and depending on the weather and stuff. So it's something race control is monitoring constantly. So how much laps will be done for every stint. So it's usually one up, one down, depending. And of course the goal is to finish the race after the 24-hour mark, but not do like too many laps afterwards. So it should be around about the same. With that long lap, it's always a bit tricky to judge that lap count, but I think with the experience we have now over the last couple of years, so it's feeling quite confident that race control knows what needs to be done for the stint length adjustment, of course. So, and as we head into the dry phase of this race now, so lap times are way more predictable now with that uncertainty of rain. Also, so should help definitely with the management for the remaining race time and stint length. So the 66 crew comes into pit lane now. It will be P8 overall, the gap to the 27. Then my team esports, after that costly mistake, gained quite some time on that final lap, pushing, but just under 30 seconds. So that extra pit stop is the gap to the 66 crew. And then we'll wait for the remaining 3 drivers. Mazda for Sector 7 Racing running with damage, low fuel, short tires. But not long to go, coming out of Franzgarten. And the gap probably go up a little bit. Should stay under 2 minutes for the number 7 crew. With an interesting exit. Here, Kleine Carousel took the high line, probably played it safe. Car with that damage, maybe also the handling is a little bit affected. And he's on the Döttinger. And will bring that car into pit lane with probably 153, 154 gap to the My Team esports team. Okay, so then 2 more teams out on track, QRT Esports and the Portugal All-Stars, Neo on the medium tires still, and II on the softs, low on fuel. 5 minutes then to go on this lap, and let's do a little bit of on board, then from out first into Metzgesfeld. Out of Kallenhardt into Spiegelkurve, flat, miss, hit, miss, no drama on the exit, downhill braking for Beerseifen, early on the power again, the exit, so weather looks nice, even a little bit of blue sky, it's visible. Up towards Exmühle, don't take too much cover on the outside. And now a little kink where Niki Lauda crashed. We're braking for Bergwerk. Early on the power for the long run uphill. Now it's all flat out, but that exit is important. At Kesselchen. Stays in 5th gear for this upper parking. No need to go into the 6th gear for now. A little lift needed maybe for Nürburgring. Yes, back onto Morgan, 230 plus kph. An exit off Klostertal, and it's heavy braking for Stahlstrecke. On the left hand side is the shortcut to Hohe Acht, but we go the raceway. And we go uphill towards Carousel, brake for the concrete, accelerate again, we're still going up and up and up towards that Hohe Acht section. Now start of the curb, brake, coast accelerate, brake here, Steilstrecke exit, and going through the technical fast-flowing section, Nürburgring right-hander, keeping it planted, dropping a gear early on the power again, braking for Eschbach, downhill left on the power again, brake into Brünchen, early on the power again, exit of Brünchen, YouTube corner, caught as well, start of corner left hand side, reference for ice curve, uphill, right, left, very sketchy. FGR running in P4 in stint number 10 again, so they disconnected this stint, but they are, I think, roughly 20 seconds behind P3, so see the linked, the pinned message link to the next stream, so you will see them again. So into Schwanz and out of Kleine Karussell. You stay with II through Geigenkopf and Neo 1 minute 15 in the gap, so he's at Pflanzgarten currently. No, not yet, this was Brünchen, so not yet. S2, go uphill, ice curve, and then into Pflanzgarten, and then he'll get to the driver swap very soon. So I now close Tiergarten Senke for the final time into Hohenrhein chicane, and then he will hand over that car to his teammate in stint number 10. So great stint for II and QRT Esports. And then we are waiting for Neo and the number 4 Ferrari from the Portugal All-Stars team. So coming out of Kleine Karussell, and then it's not long before the pit stop and the driver swap for the team as well. On 2 liter TVW. 1 minute 17 the gap, so I need to rely on some issues. And ooh, what was that? Looks like he might be a bit tired. Yeah, but GG's. So we just bring it home safely now. Final chicane. And in he goes for the swap. Well done, everybody. Okay, so that's the end of stint number 9 coverage. Just give you the calendar once more. So Nürburgring 24 hours round number 4. So 3 more stints to go. Stint 10 is underway. 11 and 12 are also being broadcasted. And then we have Suzuka, Yas Marina, Interlagos, and Spa 24 hours. So look at the stream now, FGR. So they were like 5 minutes 15 behind the leader scheduled to be released. But yeah, that's the end of stint number 9. Take care, have a lovely Sunday, everybody, and see you very, very soon.